There's no comparison. So, if we go further with this, it says and this is the talisman of the Magi, the medical doctrine derived from the Kabbalah. Oh, where's it derived? The Kabbalah, the highest form of Jewish mysticism, witchcraft. So this medical doctrine, which is derived from the Kabbalah, the highest form of Jewish mysticism, witchcraft, or the secret tradition of the apostate Jewish rabbis, was said to be borrowed from the ancient occult sciences of Chaldea and Egypt. So they get the best of both worlds. They get Egypt and Babylon, which are two of the places in the Bible that are always mentioned in the most negative context. This is where they get this knowledge from. The talisman signifies an image, a figure, and was engraved in the form of an emblem or a symbol on metals consecrated to the genii of the 7 planets. This magical task had to be carried out at a fixed time of a certain day with the firm intention of attracting to the talisman the beneficent influence of the genus which was invoked.
The family goes back into the Illuminati all the way back to 1789.
His name is Doc Marquis. He claims to have been raised in a modern Illuminati family that dates back to the 1700s. As a child, he was made to practice black magic and witchcraft. He has acted as an expert on the occult for law enforcement and the FBI. Doc has been a Christian since 1979, but he says that part of his upbringing in a family that worshiped Lucifer was to be taught about the secret Illuminati symbols and that understanding them begins with the Rothschild dynasty.
Now, this next symbol is the foulest and most evil of all symbols in the occult world. There is nothing that can even come close. It is known as the hexagram. It is the 6-pointed star with a circle surrounding it. It is this symbol that must be used during high ceremonial magic or high ceremonial witchcraft when you are summoning up demons to this plane of existence.
There's the talisman of Mars, the talisman of the Sun, the talisman of Venus, the talisman of Mercury, the talisman of the Moon. They're all demonic to the core. They're all used in high-level witchcraft. These are the principal talismans whose tradition have been preserved for us by the most ancient monuments of the highest magical art and by the most reliable archaeologists in this type of research. So in other words, this has been verified through archaeology. What we're talking about here. These talismans are recommended under the name of the teraphim by the Hebrew Kabbalists. Now you'll notice in this, when you read this, this is spelled Q-A-B-A-L-I-S-T, Kabbalist. It's also can be spelled different ways. It can be spelled with a K or a C. It's all the same thing. Okay? So the Hebrew Kabbalists of the Middle Ages were the ones that were using this in the highest magical arts, these talismans. So this is really, really high-level Jewish mysticism witchcraft, which actually had its actual pagan roots in Egypt and in Babylon. Okay, why would you want to associate yourself with any of this? And again, wouldn't it be better to err on the side of safety? This is not a salvation. God never says in the Bible, well, you have to bow down and worship or carry this talisman of Saturn or use the hexagram. It's never an issue.
Yeah. And so then you have the priest who comes out, the clergy who comes out with the long robe, and incidentally the reason why clergy always wear long robes is because it's a female garment, and it represents the feminine connection with God, and that's why clergy wear a long robe. It also has to do with when the clergy wears the long robe, the judge, when the judge comes out, he wears the same long black robe. It's the same black robe that you wear when you graduate from university or high school. The black robe is a very important symbol. It has to do with a very ancient cult called the Saturnalian cult, going back into the ancient Semitic world, the worship of Saturn. Black was a color attributed to Saturn, and even today in Islam, in Mecca, in Saudi Arabia, you have this square of Mecca within the magic circle, or within the Masonic circle, and Mecca is black and it's draped in a black robe. And so this is a world fraternity of secret societies that use the same symbols. But let me get back to the government, the courtroom, and the church. When you're sitting at a church, you of course are looking up onto the altar, and the priest is looking down on you. There is always a fence in the church, and then there's a gate, and only the priest can go through the gate to enter the altar. The same thing is true in a court.
Incredibly different ways. Saturn, Remphan, Moloch, June, the six-pointed star, the hexagram are all connected. We're seeing it so many different angles here, but so every good Chaldee scholar knows that it really only consists of 4 letters, S-T-U-R, which is also another acronym for the word star, which is where we get the word, this hexagram from. The name contains exactly the apocalyptic number. Okay, so the word for Saturn in its purest form in Chaldee is S-T-U-R. In numerology, each letter represents a different number. The number S represents the number 60. The number T represents the number 400. The number U represents the number 6. And R represents the number 200. If you add all those up, it equals 666. S-T-U-R in Chaldee, which is representative of the word Saturn, which is representative of the hexagram. This is a quote from Madame Blavatsky, who was one of the most wicked women that ever roamed the planet. Had a lot to do with the start of the Theosophical movement, modern day Satanism, essentially. Always associated with the hexagram. Now, Saturn is also the 6th planet from the Sun. Saturn is associated with Satan, which has a very similar spelling. If you think about it. Another quote, I believe this is from Text Mars Mystery Mark, page 68. Sri Abedino, a Hindu guru well known in the New Age, affirms that Saturn is represented by the number 6 because the planet Saturn is the 6th of the 9 planets in the distance from the Sun. And again, these are just different and little confirmations. The 6-pointed star was also used in the mystery religion initiation rites.
A compass and a square, but what does a compass and a square make? The compass makes a circle, and the square makes the square. So you have a circle made by the compass, which represents time, and you have the square which represents, if you have 4, you can make a square. So you have time and space, and who's in charge of time and space? That guy, Saturn. And Saturn is the, for all intents and purposes, Saturn is the code name for Satan. These guys learned a long time ago, going back to the time of Cain, how to tap into Saturn's negative energy. That's why everything is associated with Saturn is bad.
For the devil sends the beast with wrath, because he knows the time is short.
start looking and scanning Jewish websites, you'll start seeing two objects, Saturn and the moon. Those two together are what they set these. It's not just these two, but predominantly Saturn is the biggie.
Let the games begin, man, I play to win. I floss them Jews with gems, got dimes you can't spin. Gosh, him, while you wildin', I'm smiling, profiling, shining like a medallion, worshipped by thousands as the nicest, most righteous. Games priceless, I call it like psychic. So fools that's mad better show some class. I got that dough to stash, watch me show my. You know the half? Well, guess you don't. Ain't getting paid by now. Yes, you won't. Use on a thin rope. I get respects like the Pope. Got it locked like a vote. I do my thing, then I vote. No joke. Be the villain in black coat. Legos. When I was young, I was taught to stack notes. That's all she wrote. I gotta keep stardom. I'll show you flossing ain't only for y'all that got teeth problems.
That's how it is in the ghetto. Don't perpetrate if you don't know what it's like to be on your own. And I don't know why we can't just keep it real. Do our thing. Gotta go for what you know, not what you think. How can I get over? Seems every time I turn around, somebody's bringing me down. They can't shake this screen, plot my scheme to make this green. So don't even waste your time, 'cause I'm out to get mine. That's how it is in the ghetto. Don't perpetrate if you don't know what it's like to be on your own. And I don't know why we can't just keep it real when we do our thing. Gotta go for what you know, not what you think. I stay up on my game, keep my head in the clouds, show no shame. Living from day to day, trying to find a better way. This life that we live is a crazy one. I'll be making moves until my time has come. That's how it is in the ghetto. Don't perpetrate if you don't know what it's like to be on your own. And I don't know why we can't just keep it real. Do our thing. Gotta go for what you know, not what you think.
If you look in the Jewish websites, you'll see the moon and Saturn. Those are the two things that the Jews revere above everything else. The moon is like a timepiece. All the Jewish holidays start at sundown. Saturn, which is Satan, throughout the biblical history and even to this day, people don't realize that they're worshiping Saturn.
The 13th sign is called Serpentarius. Serpentarius reminds us of the wise serpent in the Garden of Eden. In the Bible, we are told that God cursed the cunning serpent for enticing Eve to eat from the tree of knowledge. The serpent in the Garden of Eden actually did Adam and Eve a favor. The god of Saturn, holding a sickle associated with harvesting and the grim reaper or father time. Another term for Saturn is Satan, meaning Satanists are really worshipping the planet Saturn. During what is called the Golden Age of Man, a mythical age when Saturn or Satan was said to have ruled, there was a festival called Saturnalia, celebrated on the winter solstice. Saturnalia was a pagan end-of-harvest festival dedicated to the god Saturn, which today we call Christmas. So Christians actually worship Satan on Christmas Day. But Satan is not evil. In reality, Satan is simply the personification of the planet Saturn.